Hey, what's going on guys, Chris here with another guide from Battlefield 1's In the Name of the Tsar DLC. And in today's video, we're going to be checking out one of the most mysterious weapons in the game, the SMG 0818, a pretty wacky looking submachine gun which can be used by the assault class. Now the SMG 0818, which is often referred to as the Maxim SMG, was an experimental weapon presumably designed and possibly used by the Germans in World War I. And there's very little known information on it regarding statistical data or how the weapon actually came to be. Its action is heavily based on the same system as the Maxim MG 0818, an air-cooled machine gun which was a slightly lighter version of the water-cooled 0815 machine gun that came before it, which can be picked up and used by a sentry class in Battlefield 1. Unlike the MG 0818 however, the Maxim SMG system was made to be a bit smaller, so it could utilise the 9mm Parabellum pistol cartridge instead, the very same round used by the P08 Luger pistol. With it using a smaller cartridge, this meant that the weapon could be designed to hold a lot more of them, 80 in fact, with the gun feeding from a very unique multi-column clip holding 8 10-round rows, which is a fairly generous amount of bullets for a submachine gun, even by these days standards, as it would have held over twice the amount as the MP18, another German SMG which also fired the same 9mm pistol cartridge. As the weapon fired, the SMG's bullets would have been chambered from columns, with a mechanism pulling the rounds up towards the barrel one at a time, and once a column was empty, the clip would then move to the right, allowing the next column to be fed. Once the gun was completely out of ammo, then the empty clip would have been discarded from a vertical slot on the right side of the feed box, ready for a new 80 round clip to be pushed back into a small door on the left. So as we all know by now, DICE doesn't like to shy away from those unique experimental weapons which may or may not have been used during the Great War. The SMG 0818 is another one of those guns shrouded in mystery, with very little known history to speak of. We don't even know what the weapon's actually called, or who made it, how many are still out there, and whether the gun was even used in battle. Because it has qualities similar to the MG 0818, and because it was made to fire the 9mm Parabellum pistol cartridge, we can presume that the gun is most likely of German origin, and was probably created in an attempt to become a suitable weapon for trench combat during the final stages of World War I. The Germans were changing their tactics and introducing the stormtroops to rush forward and attack the opposition with close-range weaponry, including the likes of the MP18, and it's possible that the Maxim SMG was another weapon designed to fit this purpose too. Whether it actually did is unknown, but because the SMG uses a similar air cooling system as the MG 0818, it was probably put in development at some point in 1918. Perhaps with the war ending in the same year, further development on the gun may have been cancelled, hence why the weapon is so rare and information on it is so scarce. Though one of them can be found in the weapon design department at Tula State University in Russia, and so this may be one of the reasons why it's popped up in the Russian DLC. Probably just a coincidence, but you never know. But anyway, whether or not the Maxim submachine gun was ever used in the war, it's certainly around in Battlefield 1. And there's two variants to pick from, which are both going to behave slightly differently to each other, which I'll be going over in more detail a bit later on. The first variant of the SMG 0818 is the bog standard factory variant, and this can be unlocked by getting yourself 15 kills of the MP18 trench, along with 10 kills of the anti-tank grenade, so this should be a pretty straightforward gun to get hold of. As for that second variation, which is the SMG 0818 Optical Variant, this one can be unlocked by taking down 50 players with the Automatico M1918 trench. So just go mad with the hipfire. And you'll also be required to destroy 5 tanks with the anti-tank mine. So when it comes down to just how powerful the Maxim SMG is, in relation to the other assault submachine guns in Battlefield 1, the weapon's got exactly the same damage output as the MP18, which isn't exactly a massive surprise, with them both firing the same 9mm Parabellum rounds. The SMG 0818's maximum damage figure of 23 will start to drop off at 11 meters, down over distance to its minimum damage of 13.5 at 43 meters. So as far as damage per bullet goes, you're going to have a range advantage over the Automatico M1918, where its maximum damage of 23 starts to drop off much earlier at just 6 meters. Though with the Recoil being able to deal a slightly higher amount of damage over longer distances, with its damage dropping off at a more gradual rate too, this kinda means that the Maxim SMG is a fairly average damage dealer in comparison, generally capable of killing an opponent with full health in 5 to 8 shots to the body. Up to 22 meters, you'll be dishing out enough damage to kill in 5 rounds, though for every 8 meters further from this point, then it's going to take an extra bullet to bring down your opponent, eventually taking 8 maximum at 39 meters and beyond. Shooting your target in the head with the Maxim SMG is going to bump the damage up even further, allowing you to kill another player in 1 less bullet over all ranges with that 1.7 times multiplier. So landing at least 1 headshot on your enemy in a gunfight is going to be very beneficial, as it'll be enough to decrease that time to kill considerably, giving you a much stronger chance of coming out of a one-on-one battle alive. Now, one of the SMG 0818's less wonderful aspects is definitely its overall speed, as it's only going to shoot those bullets out at 450 RPM, so it isn't exactly blazingly fast. This now means that it's the slowest firing assault submachine gun, with the MP18 and Recoil both firing a whole 22% quicker, having an extra 100 RPM more. And when you have the likes of the Hellriegel firing an extra 100 RPM on top of that, and the Automatico M1918 storming ahead with its rapid 900 RPM fire rate, pumping those bullets out twice as fast, then this can often put you at a huge disadvantage in close range firefights against other assault players. The SMG 0818 is by no means the most effective option for taking down enemies hard and fast, and this sluggish fire rate reflects quite harshly on the weapon's actual time to kill. As combined with its fairly normal damage output, the Maxim SMG is slower than the others over pretty much all ranges. And in closer proximities where the assault class should really be the most effective, the weapon can surprisingly be beaten by all of the support weapons, including the Hewitt Automatic and Benema C, which can also outgun a Maxim SMG user at further ranges, with that higher LMG damage output too. Not only is its fire rate on the slower side, but so is the weapon's muzzle velocity, as those rounds are only going to fly through the air at a speed of 380 meters per second, which isn't very fast at all. It's the same velocity as the Hellriegel's bullets, and so you're probably going to have to get used to leading your target's movements more so than you would with some of the other guns, especially if you're taking on someone a bit further away. The weapon's deploy time is also slightly higher than most of the other assault SMGs, which are going to be about 20% quicker, apart from the Hellriegel, which deploys at the same speed of 0.8 seconds. And so with a slightly slower deploy time, you're not going to be able to start firing quite as quickly as you switch back over to it from your secondary weapons and gadgets. So along with it being slow in the killing department, the Maxim SMG isn't quite as mobile as you might think either. So the gun might not be the most effective killing machine, but to make up for that slower fire rate, the SMG 0818 can handle with recoil extremely well, making it much easier to stay on target, land more shots, and ultimately decrease that kill time in the process. Not only does it have the lowest vertical recoil figure in the assault class of just 0.2, meaning it's not going to kick upwards very much at all as you open fire, reducing that stability, but the gun's also got the lowest horizontal recoil figure as well of just 0.08 for both left and rightwards drift. So it's going to have a lot more precision than the other SMGs, making it twice as accurate as the Recoil's 1918, which is the second most accurate assault weapon in the game leading up to the Russian DLC. To further complement this recoil pattern, the Maxim SMG only has a first shot multiplier of 1.25 times for the Factory variant and 1.5 for the Optical, which are both pretty low amounts. But of course, the Factory version has the bigger advantage here, with it recovering from recoil twice as fast too, making tap and burst firing the gun an even more effective thing to do. With that said, the Optical variant can still perform quite well when tap fired, and despite being slightly higher than the Factory, it's still got a lower first shot multiplier than most of the other assault weapons. One benefit to using the Optical variant over the Factory, however, other than the fact that it's kitted out with a fancy optical sight, is the fact that it's going to perform slightly better in ADS when opening fire. It's got 25% less spread when both stationary and moving whilst aiming through those optics, so if you're more of a run and gun kind of person, then this variant might fit your playstyle a bit better. Along with having a very impressive recoil pattern, the Maxim SMG also has an equally impressive ammo capacity, which is going to allow you to shift from target to target and gun down more players without the need to reload. The SMG's 80 round clip, with an extra possible round stored in the chamber, will ensure that you'll hardly ever need to worry about running out of bullets in a gunfight, as its ammo capacity not only beats all of the assault weapons outright, but it can also store more bullets than a good majority of the support's LMGs too. Now, because the gun's so accurate, and with it firing at a slower rate, you'll probably find that you'll be wasting a lot less of those rounds by missing shots, something which the Hellriegel has more of a problem with, despite also having a fairly hefty magazine. And so this might give the illusion that the Maxim SMG has an even bigger ammo capacity than it actually does. Unfortunately, the gun is going to take a slight hit to its overall reload time because of this, as those multi-column clips do take a bit more time to swap over than a typical SMG magazine. It's going to take 4.5 seconds to reload the gun from empty, which is the same as the Hellriegel. And for a tactical reload, which is probably going to be performed more often, this is going to take you 3.95 seconds to perform, which is only a tiny bit slower than the Hellriegel too. And so, because you're essentially getting up to 21 bullets extra per reload, I'd say this is a pretty good deal in comparison. Especially with the gun bearing over 3 times the amount of ammo than an Automatico, for the sake of a couple of extra seconds. But anyway, in conclusion, the SMG 0818 is a weapon that, despite being slotted into the assault class, really wanted to be born as a light machine gun, in the sense that it has quite a lot of similar traits to some of the support weapons, but doesn't quite match up to their power or size. With a fairly average damage output, along with a very sluggish rate of fire, gives the gun one of the worst kill times in the entire game, even within those closer ranges where SMGs are usually most deadly. Things aren't made any easier here by the fact that the gun's muzzle velocity is also very slow, limiting its effectiveness at long ranges, as your bullets are going to be a bit harder to land against opponents further away with them travelling at a slower speed. The Maxim SMG's accuracy, on the other hand, definitely helps to make up for these issues, as you'll be able to stay on target a hell of a lot easier without the gun bouncing all over the place. And this should make it a more dependable weapon to use, allowing you to engage the enemy much more comfortably at those medium ranges, where other assault SMGs might struggle to land shots accurately. And if you can learn to lead your target's movements, then you can quite easily learn to counter the gun's lower muzzle velocity to take people on further away too, especially with it being a weapon better suited for tap and burst firing. Because you've got such a massive amount of ammo at your disposal per reload, you won't really need to worry about running out of bullets too much, and you'll usually have more than enough ammo to deal with multiple opponents one by one, leaving you in fewer vulnerable positions whilst advancing forwards, or whilst defending an objective from an attacking squad of enemies. The SMG 0818 might not be the most lethal choice to bring to a gunfight, but it sure is a reliable one, providing you with enough ammo and accuracy to get the job done. So that's all for another one, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and make sure you subscribe to see guides on all the other weapons in Battlefield 1 right here on my channel. Take it easy, and I'll be seeing you in our next episode.